Welcome to Relatable Situations. I'm your host, Juan, and I have my co-host, Bree. Say, hey, Bree.
Hey y'all. I say that every episode. Hey y'all, because I don't know who y'all is.
Perfect. So, here we are again with another episode. I am extremely excited, mostly because of the feedback that we got from the prior episode. I want to thank everyone who liked it, who subscribed to the show on YouTube. Please continue to subscribe. I appreciate that. That will help the show get bigger. But most importantly, the comments that I received and the well wishes and all of the the positive feedback that I got. Thank you so much to everyone who participated. And feel free to add comments if you see it fit. However, it's time to move on. We got work to do. We got a lot of work to do. So, Bree, today's episode is entitled, Am I Just Being Petty? So
Probably.
So let's give a little bit of background of how we got to this topic. So I was doing a coaching session recently with a young lady, and she actually gave me permission to share her story, not her name, of course. And she was telling me about I'm going to assume that this is her ex-boyfriend now because I'm not sure of where the relationship lies. But apparently, she had a boyfriend who did a long distance pop over, which is another topic for another show. But on top of the pop over,
Pop over or pop up?
Pop. Okay, so I said pop over. So I said pop over only because it was such a long distance. It was like 5 hours away. In other words, he drove 5 hours without letting her know that he was coming to her house. 10 minutes out, he then said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that I'm around the corner from your house." And she's like, "What?" But anyway, let's save that one because that's another episode. I promise we will get to that one. But she gave me a lot of backstory of their relationship. And I'm not going to bore everyone with that backstory, but what I will say is that it ended up with them basically going their separate ways. Now, here's where it gets to her actual question. The question that she had to me was regarding some money that she lent him. She lent him $150. And okay, so for some folks, that's a lot of money. I mean, I know for me it's a lot of money, but for some other people, it's not so much. In other words, in comparison, it's not so much. So her question to me, because what she wanted to know was, would it be petty for her to ask for her money back after months and months and months of them not talking? And I gave her some feedback, and what I basically said to her was, okay, so we first have to understand what it is that you're looking for in regards to the relationship. Are you looking for a finality where it's done, or are you trying to keep those old embers burning? Because if you contact this person for the $150, it's going to rekindle that communication, which could rekindle the relationship.
Which could rekindle another $150.
Exactly. Well, it could rekindle a whole lot more than that. It could rekindle 5,000. It could rekindle a co-signing on a car or a purchase of a house or marriage, because we don't know where that could potentially go. And what I told this person after listening to all that she shared with me about the relationship, all that she talked about in regards to the things that she did not like about the relationship, I said to her, okay, so from what I'm hearing, you're not really feeling this relationship at this point, right? Right. So what is the $150 going to do for you? I'm not going to disclose her income, but I will just say that she's doing very well economically, and the $150 is not going to change anything. But I wanted her to understand and see that. I said, so by giving the opportunity to reopen the lines of communication, you're giving the opportunity for him to get his foot back in the door. So if you thought that the $150 hurt, how would it feel? As you said, Bree, it goes to more and worse, because you've now let your guards down. You've now invited him back into your world and life, and now he wants to borrow a couple $1,000s, or now he wants to, go half, quote unquote, half on a home. It can get worse. So, in my opinion, what I feel, and this is, totally Juan's opinion, but if you're done with that relationship, be done. Chalk that $150 up as a lesson learned and actually thank him for allowing you to get off easy. You got off easy for $150. Keep it moving. It's not worth the trouble or aggravation. And most importantly, time. The time factor is a huge part of your life that you're now devoting to this $150 loan that at the end of the day, if you were having such an issue about that money, then you maybe shouldn't have lived with them in the first place. So that's a whole nother story. So that's what prompted this topic for this episode. But wait, there's more. Bree, let me tell you. So I started thinking about, okay, so we talked about the quote unquote pettiness in this situation. And then I started doing a little self-assessment. Okay, so Juan, are you petty? Have you ever been petty? Is there any pettiness in your life? Okay. Yes. Yes, there is pettiness. There's a lot of it. So, my wife, I said, baby, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be completely honest. It's not going to start an argument, I promise. I want you to let me know if I've ever been petty. So after she stopped laughing,
she was like, I've been waiting for you.
So after she stopped laughing, she said, where do I begin? I'm like, wait a minute. Hold it. So she told me that she needed some time to get the list together, and then she can narrow it down to like the top 5. I'm like, hold up.
She had the CVS receipt.
So, with that being said, I'm going to give you some of the things that she shared with me. And when she said them, I'm like, okay, you know what? That does sound a little petty. But it also could just be a little picky. Maybe I'm just a little picky. But okay, so here we go. One's pettiness. All right, Bree, hold your laughter until at least I finish the first one, okay?
Okay.
Oh, self-disclosure. Here we go. When I get, in particular, baked items, and I know y'all can't tell it from my wonderful, beautiful physique, but I've eaten a cookie or two. I've eaten a couple of muffins. All right. So with that being said, I do not eat baked items, almost every one that I can think of, unless they've been heated up. For example, yes, Bree, yes.
That's not petty. I'm trying to think.
This is a choice?
Yeah.
Okay, so there to my wife, yeah, I'm not being petty. But like, for example, if if she
donuts taste good warmed up.
Say it, girl. Say it out loud. All right. So you know what? Maybe we're both petty. I'm good with that. But okay, I'll move on since that one doesn't necessarily fall into the petty category. Next one. Almost every meal that I eat, if it involves meat, I need bread or else I won't eat it. Some form of bread. Yes. Let's see another one that she gave me because she gave me a whole ton of them. I should have actually brought the list in to this conversation so I can actually reach from the list. Let's just say, because I can't think of the other ones right off the top of my head, but let's just say that I have certain things that I want a certain way or else I do not want them. So you may call it petty, you may call it picky, you may call it spoiled. Yeah, I'm a little spoiled. I will admit that. But at the end of the day, when we talk about pettiness, especially as it relates to a relationship, it can be a problem. Now, before I get into that too deep, Bree, I know this may be hard for you to come up with any examples, but do you have any examples of your pettiness?
I asked a few friends. I extended out to a couple of people, like, all right, let me know a time where I've been petty. And most of them are like, I haven't thought of anything. Let me let me come back to you. One person did say the way that you respond to guys that you're not interested in, which I'm not a mean person, but
No,
after
not at
divorce,
all.
speaking of, like my ex-husband, I asked him just because we were together for a decade and he was like divorcing me. And I'm like, petty.
That was so petty for you to divorce me. What in the world? What are you doing? Okay.
So that's what he gave me. So I'm just being transparent here. That's what he gave me.
Okay.
So it, like, after divorce, it took a while for me to even go on a couple of dates. So out of peer pressure, I went a couple of dates, and this guy went to the movies and he pulled out a wad of cash. And I'm like, okay, I'm done.
So it began and ended right there.
It's over. And my friend was like, "Wait, that's so petty." And I'm like, I have a whole human being that I'm raising, and I would never teach my son to carry a wad of cash around because that's a cool thing. Like, in my mind, I was like, "Where is your debit card?"
Well, Bree, he was trying to impress you. He wanted you to know.
Silly. Huh? That is silly. So that caused, I was like, no, absolutely
not. Okay, so did you ever see that guy again?
No. And we went to this like gruesome, gory, shoot 'em up. Everybody was dying in the movie. I was like, okay, this is real romantic. Like, what?
Okay, so that was that could be considered petty. What else you got?
I don't think it petty in terms of relationship. I mean, my sister, she did say.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I think I heard this story. I think I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Okay, so I juice fruit a lot, and I recently juiced a watermelon, and it was mine. So I may or may not have hid a few jars of juice in the refrigerator in the basement.
So wait a minute. Let me understand. So you actually,
and I wanted it.
I get it. But just to make sure I have it clear, so you juiced this watermelon, and because you did not want anyone else to have any, you hid the watermelon in your off-brand refrigerator somewhere in a clandestine location.
It's mine.
I'm with it. And that actually brings up some other examples that I know everyone can relate to. Everyone can relate to either that brother or cousin or friend who has probably worn out their welcome at their mama's house, who puts labels on the juice because they don't want anybody else to drink their juice. I know that I have seen that and was shocked at what I saw. I'm like, you actually have your name written on the juice. Yeah, because I don't want nobody drinking my juice, so I want them to know it's my juice. But this is like a community refrigerator. In other words, everybody uses it, right? So did you drink the milk that everybody else is using? Well, yeah. Oh, but you don't want them touching that juice, though, right? Because this is organic. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I get it now. I get it. So thank you for those. Did you have any others?
No, but the petty is when you start seeing the lines with the date. Like, I only drank it with this line.
Oh my God. I think you're right. You may have me. So I want to talk about somebody who ain't here, and I'm hoping that y'all won't tell her. My mama. She is petty. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Your mama jumping out of my bush.
So
be nice.
Yes, she is petty. So I was talking with her, and there were two stories that we had. One of them involved me, but the other one is all hers. So let me give you hers first, and then I'll go into the one involving me. So my mother is so petty. How petty is she, Juan? She's so petty that where she lives, so she lives in a townhouse community, right? And they're all, each townhouse has assigned parking. And each townhouse has 2 parking slots. I think you know where I'm going. So because my mother does not, even though she only has 1 vehicle, and it's just her, she will park her car in the middle of those 2 parking spots so that no one else can park in the other spot. Yes, yes. That's my mother. But hold on. There's more. If she leaves and comes home and sees someone in one of those spots, she will kindly she'll figure out what neighbor it is that's in her spot, knock on the door, and make them move their vehicle.
Oh my God. We're gonna she wins. A trophy.
No. This next story that involved me, I was like, wow. And when I talked with her about this to try to refresh her memory, oddly enough, she doesn't remember this ever happening. Okay. So this was years ago, but it wasn't that long ago. So my mother and I used to live pretty close to each other. In other words, my house was about maybe 2.5 miles away from her house. And something happened when my vehicle was being serviced or was broken or something. But anyway, I had to use her vehicle. And at this time, this is before she retired, she was working part-time at the airport, at BWI Airport. And I had borrowed her car. I had taken her to work, and I needed to pick her up when she got off. Well, true to form, Juan was late picking her up. Now, understand something, a bit of a defense to my mother. She had worked a full-time shift at her full-time job and then worked a part-time job. So she was tired. And when it's time to go home, she wants to go home. So here comes, Johnny come lately Juan. He's late to pick her up. So she was, of course, very, very pissed off. And I got the business. I got the full wrath of it. I'm working these 2 jobs, and I let you borrow my car, and the least you could do is be here on time when I get off. And I'm like, you know what? You're right, Ma. I'm sorry. So I'm taking ownership. I'm saying to her, you know what? I was wrong. She wanted to give me the business the whole ride home. So it got to a point where I'm like, you know what? This is probably a mistake, and I do understand your frustration, but I don't want to borrow your car anymore. So then she says, well, no, you can borrow it. No, I don't want to borrow it because this is causing a problem. So we go back and forth with them. No, I don't want, no, you're going to borrow it. So we get...
You're going to borrow it.
Yes. Hold on, Bree. She didn't stop there. So we get to what would have been my exit to go to my house. But she passes it. And I'm like, Mom, you just passed my exit. It's like, yeah, I'm going home. I'm like, well, no, I already told you that I don't want to borrow your car. And she's like, no, I know you said that, but I'm going home, so you do what you want to do. So hold on. She goes to her house, and I'm like, okay, so this is like a joke. She's trying to teach me a lesson. So she gets out of her car. I'm like, Ma, I just need you to give me a ride home. She's like, you can have a whole car to take you home, but I'm not taking you home. She gets out of her car, goes into her house, closes the door, and I hear her lock it. She locks it so to make sure I can't get in. So I'm now outside the parking lot with the dumb look, trying to figure out, okay, I'm about 2.5 miles away from home. What do? I walk home, Bree. I walked home. Now, this is where it gets a little touchy. And you all know that I'm not afraid of crying. But it was dark out and I was a little scared.
That's what you get. Both of y'all.
So,
honestly.
So I had to walk home. And first off, I was mad. And yes, I'm not gonna kid you, I was frightened because there was some big dogs. I heard these big dogs barking. I'm like, they're gonna get me. The dogs are gonna get me. So I go home. I walk my 2.5 miles. It's now close to 11 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? I'm so mad. I'm so frustrated, and I'm hurt. I can't believe she made me walk home. But that to me was truly petty. Truly petty. So, any comments to that? Any feedback?
Was this before Uber? Because I was
Yes, it was before
Uber. I was picking
Uber.
up what you were putting down with, I'm not going to borrow your car because you want me to borrow your car. I want to borrow your car when I want to borrow your car. But I wouldn't have walked.
I had a choice. There was no Uber back then. No, it didn't exist. I had no choice.
Oh,
And she locked that door, and I saw the lights go out, which meant she's going upstairs. Yeah, don't bother me. So there were no options.
Send her a message right now. Like, Mama, you want to come on here and defend yourself?
Talk about Petticoat Junction. Oh my God, Petticoat Junction, Richard Petty. Oh man. So those are some examples that I've had of pettiness. Yeah. The thing that, to me, at the end of the day, and I mean, I know we had a great time talking about how petty people can be. That pettiness can definitely cause an irrevocable separation in the relationship, because you're now allowing these small concerns or small wants that you have to put a wedge in between you and someone else that you care about. And from my point of view, at the end of the day, those things will not matter at all in just a matter of hours, if not days. The fact that my mother didn't even remember that happening, so she says, tells me that it wasn't that important. Now, I remember it because, like I told you, I was scared. But I just feel that we have to look at the situation and say, okay, at the end of the day, is it worth what I'm going through, putting somebody else through? Is it worth the aggravation? And if not, then you know what? Let me be the bigger person and let it go. What are your thoughts, Bree?
No, I agree. Hurt people hurt people. So if you, like you told the young person that you were coaching, if you take a step back and really try to figure out why do you even want to go there? What is really causing this, and what is the hurt inside of you? I think that you could sort through those emotions before you say or do something that you can't take back.
Yes.
Plus,
yes,
people are crazy. Like you don't know what the level or mental stability somebody has.
That's true.
So think about that on the other end. They have all these TV shows out on serial killers and
Snap.
Like,
yeah.
It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. Like, I agree. I know in my mind, because my sense of humor is a little warped, that I think of things like, oh, I should do that. But then I do the gut check and be like,
kind of dial it back in, reel it in.
I'm like, wait a minute, this person really might have some issues. With them problems.
So yeah, I do agree with you. I think at the end of the day, you have to understand the effect to your actions, and they could have long-term effects. What may be, it may make perfect sense at the time. If you don't think through those actions, you're putting yourself in a situation where it could come back to bite you in a really, really profound way. Similar to what I talked about with this young lady, in that, she was talking about, I want my $150. Okay, so you get your $150 back. He now has the opportunity to make things right, to weasel his way back into your heart, and now he done took you for $5,000. You know what I mean? So what did you actually win by getting that $150 back? Is it so important to win the argument but lose something a lot larger than that? The way that I describe it is winning the battle but losing the war. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I don't want to necessarily consider relationships as war, but I do want you to look at the overarching message that I'm sending here. You're looking at this small little thing, and you're not realizing the bigger thing that's happening here. You're wasting your time, which I can't express that any more profoundly than by saying how important our time is. What I'm learning as I'm getting older is, you can't get no more of it. So you need to utilize the time that you have to the best of your ability and not waste it on situations like the $150 or the parking spot, or having bread with having the bread that you want to have with your meals. Brie, I'm telling you. So
I think that that's a choice though, because if this is what I want to eat, but the pettiness would be what you do. Like if you're throwing plates and food, you don't have your bread.
No.
Different story, but
no. I don't throw food, but I do pout. All right. So I have been known to pout once or twice.
Here comes the real tea. Holding back.
Oh my goodness gracious! Because at the end of the day, you know what I like. I mean, just have. In other words, if you don't have what I like, let me know and I'll go get it myself. But when it comes time for the meal that you know I love, don't say, "Oh, you know what? We out of bread." But it's okay. Go ahead and eat it. No. I want it with my bread. And if not, then I'm not going to eat. I'm not eating. So
I don't think I've ever been that petty. Honestly.
Go ahead, I do it. Come on.
And not when it comes to food, but like
right.
I've been petty like that at work one time.
Okay.
I will never forget this man coming up to me. He needed an envelope mailed out, and this was when I was an executive assistant at the time.
Right.
And he literally talked to me like I was stupid, like described writing an address on an envelope, like write the address here, and he was like showing me, write the address here, and then you put airmail, and then okay. So here's me and the pettiness within me. And I was literally teaching him how to treat me. Not like, yes, I was being petty, but
yeah, no. Nice try. So, you were probably being petty, but go ahead.
I was, because I took an envelope and I literally wrote the words, write the address here, in the middle of the envelope. Folded up blank paper, licked it, sealed, and it was like, oh my God, here you go. He turned it over and saw right address here, and then I drew an arrow and put airmail. What is this? What is this? He almost had a seizure doing that because he was just freaking out, and I laughed so hard, and I handed him the envelope. I was like, don't ever talk to me like I'm stupid again. We learned how to do this when we were 12, okay? Don't sit here and tell me. Write the address here. I'm like, oh, okay, you got jokes. But he never talked to me like I was stupid again.
I bet he did. He probably didn't talk to you much at all after that.
No, he bought me a bottle of wine for
wow. Wow. Okay. So yeah, no. I do think that was a little bit petty, but I do understand, why you felt you had to do that. So I'm with you. With that being said, I want to thank you so much for sharing those examples of pettiness. I want to thank everyone for watching and enjoying our little show today. What I will say is, the first thing is, I do have an ask. I want you to respond in terms of what we've shared as far as pettiness, and give an example of where you maybe have been petty. As well as, I would love to get comments back about what we've talked about. Do you think these things are petty? Is Juan the king of pettiness? I mean, let me know, because I would love to respond to those. And as we continue with our show in this format, I'm probably going to start inviting some folks to dial in and call in and give us some real-time feedback on what we're talking about, because I feel that these topics warrant those immediate responses. What do you think, Bree?
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun. We're also going to do some engagement on Instagram and ask questions to get some people's buy-in before the show.
Awesome. So if you are not, please follow us on Instagram. I'm going to give my Instagram. I'm going to give Bree the option to give her Instagram. If not, you can just use...
No English.
Imagine that. With that being said, let me go ahead and give you the ways that you can contact us on Instagram. It is relatable_situations with an S_podcast. Also on Facebook at Relatable Situations. And if you want, you can also leave comments on our YouTube page, Relatable Situations. And you can also email at faceitnc@yahoo.com. And with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. I look forward to your comments, look forward to your likes and your subscriptions to the show, so that we can continue giving you this content. And also, any ideas that you have, please share them with us. So thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate you. And as I always say at the end of every show, communicate, y'all.